Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another exciting edition of the Woodstock Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting, Thursday, June 20th, 2024, 7:30 p.m. And I have 7:30, bringing the meeting to order. With that, I'll go through the roll call. Dwight Reinowitz, would you like to start us off, please?
Wait, Reinowitz.
Thank you, Dwight. Tim Young. Tim Young. Ian Gould. Jeffrey Marcotte. Aaron Parvo. Joe Palulik. John Day. Thank you. It appears we have a quorum. And we're going to need some minutes. So, yes, we can see John Day and Dwight Reinowitz, and again this month in no particular order. Hey, Joe. Let it hear us. We'll just note for the record that Joe joined us at 7:31. Maybe he's having some audio issues. With that, will you all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
And the flag of the United States of America, and to stands one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Athletic, can you hear me?
Looks like he's trying to connect now.
For the record, we'll note that Sid Logic, that was very good. Give Joe a second or two here. Here's Joe. We got a letter, can you hear us? So maybe try logging out and logging back in. Well, moving right along, the chair's report. Spring is over. Days are gonna get shorter in a couple of days. Summer's on the downhill slide. Very sad.
Recording in progress.
Julia's here. Also, as some of you may know, my wife and I have listed our house. We should sell it. Here's on the week this morning. Be a permanent resident of Florida, so I would not be a resident of Woodstock, therefore. I will not be on the commission, but until that happens, I'll still be here. Please note for the record that David Morris joined us at 7:34. Thank you, David. Hello, David. Good evening. So with that said, we'll move along to citizens' comments. Are there any citizens' comments? No, that do not pertain to anything that's on the agenda tonight. Joe, can you hear us yet? Hearing no citizens' comments, we have some meeting minutes from June 6th. What is the will of the commission?
Move to accept this meeting with the second.
Motion by Dean Gould to approve minutes, seconded by David Morse. Was there any discussion? Send Joe a text. Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Then. That's, please note that. Sid Blodgett, Joe Lulick, and abstained. That so passes, thank you. Moving on to old business, I don't know of any. Moving into new business, I don't know of any there either. Didn't see any home occupation permits for us to review. Good job. Sorry, show his face. That brings us to agenda item 8, non-residential zoning permits, change of business application 28269 Mama Italia Ristorante. Would the applicant or the applicant's representative like to speak on this application? Sorry, I'm hard of hearing.
Okay. We're excited about taking over the space. We're Johnstown.
Hopefully this will all work out for you. I'll open it up to
My name is Kathy Baldier.
Dan Maylow. Tell us about the application.
Don't really have much to speak to it.
Okay. Cameron, you have anything to add?
Not about the particular change of business, but there's been conversations about things related to this application. We can talk about that after this.
I also have Jennifer McDowell representing United Equity and the building owner. So I have more information on that parking lot situation. Questions about whether or not it's gonna be impervious, it's gonna be, crushed gravel. And then I just have it as well as the setback. So, and then Delia had raised some questions about the size of the parking spaces. It's not gonna be striped out, it's gonna be just gravel or crushed stone. So there's just he's expecting 8.5 to 9 feet across. It was gonna be a standard, parking lot. It wasn't really the scale, whatever they had sent over for you. So that is definitely that. He was figuring another 30 spaces, I believe. But it was just extending what's already there, which is not so big as a bluestone. There's the rock back there now, so that's just gonna extend back a little bit and will be still, I think, 20 feet from the property line in the back, well over 25. Less than, he said about 45% would be, that was a question in here, regulations,
50% or less.
50% or less, so you say approximately 45% would be, but it's stone, it's not gonna be, it's not asphalt. So that would be, I don't know if they're considering that impervious, I'm not sure what the material is.
Yeah, crushed stone.
Stone is very crushed stone. Not milling, not like that.
No.
And it was just the previous, whatever you had on there was included the previous parking spaces that are along the front and side of the building. There's not that many of them. And then I do have some of the deck plan information, but I don't know where that stood. I was watching. So, but I do have more information. Neat.
I know the fire marshal and the building official This is the last week?
Yeah.
And, did they provide any?
I don't think that there was any issues with that, because we had the, there's a wood unit went in and that all was inspected prior to. I do know there probably has to be another inspection because the equipment's changing, so the gas line has to get new fitting for the new equipment that's coming in, because right now there's a grill, 3-foot grill, a 4-burner stove, and I know that he was needing to have another 5-burner stove and taking out the steam table and everything that's there, so they do have to move the fittings around. So when that happens, they will have to have it inspected. We're just having, the plumbing people, HVAC plumbing guys come in and fix that, and even with the hood unit where the nozzles are, have to also aim where the spaces are gonna be, where the gas lines are running. The steam table that was there that we had outfitted for Java Jive was, I believe that was electric, we did have an electric there too, so it was the same things that had to happen. So I do know that they came through and there wasn't, I don't think there was any issues with that, and then they're just waiting on Northeast District Department of Health to do inspections. Well, but I don't think we're moving forward with that until we get through like this. That's a whole book of fun, the health standards they set forth.
If I can speak, sorry. I handed out a memo, it looks like this tonight. I'm sorry I wasn't able to provide it beforehand, but I handed a physical copy out to everybody. And it's up on the screen for those on Zoom. It basically goes over some of the conversations that we had as staff about the application and some of the proposed changes. It includes the questions that were well answered tonight. And it's so for the deck, I think we have settled that it will require a zoning permit application to be filled out. But because it's a non-residential use, it must be accepted by the commission as a vote for the commission. So once that application is all squared away and submitted, the commission can vote on it at that time. And that particular zoning regulation is specified in the memo I've said. As for the parking, there is some confusion currently, and we're leaving it up to the commission to decide which direction we want to go. As to whether or not the parking will require a special permit, or if it can be done via just a zoning permit application or, administrative support or administrative checking off from the CEO. The reasoning there might be a special permit for the parking extension is that currently, there's no current special, it's not the wetlands, it's that currently there's no special permit for the property, but the use of the property currently is listed as a special use, so it's technically a non-conforming use currently in existence. And so it would need a special permit to expand the parking and to keep it within conformity. Even though it currently existed and has existed as a business for many years. There is an argument, I think, for not doing a special permit simply because it's an extension of the existing parking and it's not a significant extension of the use of the property. I think that there's an argument there as to why we wouldn't require everything that would come with a special permit application. So I hope I explained that well. But it is up, I think we should take a commission vote, decide whether or not the parking should require a special permit, or if they can just fill out a zoning application or some other opportunity like that.
I also had a question.
Sure.
So how does the parking for the restaurant affect the parking for the other businesses in the same property?
It shouldn't too much. There is entrances to both sides of the building for all of the use that's gonna be in there. And currently that whole front lot is terrible, because if you get a back out of a space, you're going right out on the highway. So I think we're trying to alleviate some of that mess. And even with parking on the side where they are coming in out of the fairground, it's always been an issue. So just getting the back, we had done the stone that's there now, just it was all squishy. It was, there's always there's water in the back that had just been gravel and mud. So we kind of already made that, but they can still, those other businesses that are in there, currently there's only a salon, and there is some talk on the third unit that will need some parking, but they'll be able to use the other entrances as well. And then if they do the porch that's there, then right now the porch that's there, there is an entrance and there's stairs going up. This would be better to be able to get up into the restaurant. Yeah.
Don't think it's worth you mean replacing
The one that's going to be replaced with deck. Yeah, right now there's only maybe 10 by 10. I don't even think it's that big. It's just a tiny area. So they want to expand that a little bit and make it they can put seating.
Chris mentioned also time to time, I'm pretty sure I've seen it too, that grass area.
Yeah.
You're proposing, it has been overflow parking.
Yeah,
before.
we do park on there, and in prior to the purchase of the building, I think that even the parking had been further back. It was just where we had squared it off, it wasn't ever, the grass is there now because that's what we put. There wasn't really much in the back, it had been a garage at one point, so it was just, there was a lot of grass back there, so it's just us squaring it off and then adding just a little bit. It does have, probably a significant increase in business, from what we had done. Because we were in and out when we were in there for that restaurant. That wasn't, you weren't parking there for very long, but it was more sit down eating. And then that also enabled us to have more parking for the salon. And she's only got right now one person in there for hair, I think, and she can be on the two chairs. I mean, she may have 4 cars, 5 cars there. They'll still be able to get in and out easily if we have parking back. And then if the third unit, the plan for that, they'll definitely need some parking for them as well, but depending on who goes. So we'll need to have some more, so this will make sure that everybody does that. It's not all just eating up by the rest. Which, I mean, we all. I'm not gonna lie, it'll be fine. But, and they'll be feeding the other tenants, which has always been fun for them, and it increases the foot traffic, the restaurant, those being open. I think, you know, when I've run a job for since 2010, that this is gonna be a good use of that space. I'm no one. I just.
Joe Fluid.
Yeah, one of my questions was the footprint of the restaurant is the same as Java Jive?
Yeah. Yeah, we
You're
changed
not
that.
taking down a partition?
No, we've already done the renovations within the restaurant from 2019. We had taken it down. There was no hood unit in there, which is an exhaust fan and ceiling. So we had bought a 12-foot hood unit, which had the fire suppression systems and all these stuff. And so that was fairly expensive right before COVID. And then when that went in, that changed where we put the used to be a center island where all the cooking and everything was. We slid that into the back corner. So the seating remained the same. There's still a counter area where you can sit down and the path, there's like a breakfast bar at the bar and have seating. So there's no change to that area, except where the kitchen area is. You can't walk around it anymore in the back. Itself, just the seating is now all along the outside wall where the windows are, and along where before it had been all the way around. So the kitchen area stayed about the same, but it just moved to the back. We took all the walls down, right? And just everything got upgraded, all the systems for, you even the gas and the heating system is different and everything, but everything got upgraded in that area. And when we did that, we upgraded some of the other areas of the building as well, we shored up the floor in the 30 units, sagging and everything. It's very open. So they did a lot of work to make sure that everything's functioning.
All right, thank you.
How many people can you seat per day at a time?
I want to say
I
that,
can't
yeah,
remember how big it was.
it was only like 40, I think 32, yeah, it was like, I think it was 42. The last 5, right, yeah, 42-ish. So then in the back, if they put they do get the deck there, they'll probably have more seating. I don't know. Probably another 10 or so out back.
Great.
So, no, it
I'm
wasn't,
just curious.
it wasn't more, I mean, we wouldn't fill up often, but I want to say that we see 40 when we were in the job.
Thank you.
I have the question for the applicant regarding the menu.
Something specific you're looking for.
They don't deliver to Florida. Are you gonna be serving any veal dishes?
Yes, we have a large deal section on our menu.
Is that grass-fed veal?
You have to ask the chef.
You put in an order, Jeff?
What?
You put in an order?
No, being a wise guy.
That is so unlike you.
Anybody else have anything to add? Wow. Joe had to let us on his way. Couldn't get his mic to work. I'm of the opinion that I don't think extra parking is an issue.
I certainly don't think we should make them go through a special permit for the parking. That's just time and expense.
need parking. In parking area, please.
Jeff? Sorry. So the new post parking's at the bottom of the sketch, those 9 or 10. Slots.
Bottom, the building's here, so that'll be the fairground.
Yeah. So, from that new parking to your property line, about
20 feet,
20 feet?
Yeah.
And that owner is the fairgrounds?
yeah, it looks like that, yeah.
I did.
They use the area on the other side of the park as well. They flood and they can't use it if it rains, but we've always remained dry.
And so, when Chris was in the office, we spoke about, Brook. That's
Yeah.
on the adjacent property.
Yeah, there was some.
It's just at about 125 feet from the brook, which is the limit of the wetlands upland review area for a water course. We had talked maybe about reducing where we can to be within that. Or avoid the upland review area. But some things to note, there is a slope that goes upwards towards the brook. So nothing from the parking lot would travel down to the brook. Was he working on something about the property line? We noted.
There is, yeah, we did notice that, and there is a survey where there is gonna be a full survey done on the property, just because there is some ambiguity, as to where that may lie. We're kind of going on where the fence and everything is over right now. And then just making sure that everything else is there is ways that have to be addressed. So there is gonna be a full survey done. And I'm not sure the timeline on that. I know they were booking it. It depends on when that guy can get out there, but we're gonna go on. So I think you had given him from the GIS site, and I know that it had some issues when they transferred over to the assessor's office to the new system. I worked with Lori on some of those spaces that are up on Bungie, is that the lines were all wrong. So I don't know if this is accurate, where that is, but we're just going on for where the fencing is and everything to make sure that we have enough space. Between that, to meet the setbacks if it turns out that the fencing is here, if we go back. In other minutes. But I think even the brook though has moved more, like this is the way that it's not as close as it used to be. Just looking at it, the property next door is all for the brother, so we do have access to go see. Moved again, and the curve is changed, so I don't know how they determine whether or not that 125 feet would still be within that.
I can definitely attest to that. I've seen that brook take different shape. In a few years that I've been the wetlands officer, I've been out there a couple of times. Fair, as they're trying to figure out how to shore up that shoreline from constant erosion.
Yeah, that is, it's and then when it goes, that takes out that whole side of the fairgrounds, right up to the fence. Yeah, when they built the building we're in, and that they really fill in there and everything has always been good. We've never had any, the flood never comes up to our side because we are just the way that it is banked up and everything. And stay on the ag.
I'd like to know for the record that Joel Leonard joined us in person, so he's double duty, zooming and in person at 7:52. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you, Jeff. Extend my apologies for arriving late, trying to put it right, but I could see everybody and you look very excited. I couldn't hear a thing.
In reference to whether you're gonna have a special permit, I think it's reasonable to know that they're not using impervious surface. But if that were to change, if you were wanting to make it pavement or something impervious, I think that should bump it up to the special permit, because then you have more drainage concerns.
Yeah.
Or if you needed to expand the parking to accommodate any other businesses that go into the building. So
I don't think we could. I think that this is gonna be the maximum amount of spaces that we can get in the back and not want to blame in, but it's gonna depend on how people park. Not everybody parks so well, then we might only fit 10 cars in there once done, instead of so many that they expect.
Kim, maybe tell Joe about your opinion.
on the parking.
Yeah, so currently the parking lot may require a special permit simply because the building doesn't have a special permit currently to the
Right.
building, but the use that it's using is a special permit use. So because the parking is expanding its use, it would be argued that it should have a special permit. But you know, we're discussing potentially not making them go through that process of the special permit just to expand it.
And by not paving it, keeping it a pervious surface would allow that consideration to not apply for a special.
So
permit. Is that what you're saying?
they're limited to an impervious surface on a lot to 50% or less. And so I think to Delia's point of not including the impervious surface is if they filled it over, it could expand that above the 50% required change.
I think if they made it impervious by paving it or
Right.
using some other material, it should then be looked at where the stormwater would go. So not making it impervious, like using the stone, causes the field making from pervious.
From the ability, yeah.
And then there wouldn't be as much of a concern, you know, if there's a flood, obviously there'll still be water flowing somewhere.
I was wondering why there was a question about a special permit.
We also mentioned that sometimes that area had been used for overflow parking to begin with. It was also not grass. It had a structure back there at one point in
A little bit
time.
of the two-sided garage thing in the back prior to what.
So overflow parking did have some type of history on occasion there.
And that land is part of the property. It's not in the butter.
Yeah, it's on the property.
It's on the.
We did just discuss that they're working with the firm to correct whatever issue the RGS might have regarding that boundary line.
Yeah, I guess, I don't even remember the guy's name, there's a surveyor coming out to do a full survey. Because there has been some questions about where it all lies, and there is some easements and some rights of way. So they're getting that done, but right now they were basing it kind of where I was gonna find it, the agricultural society has the change in that, so they're kind of going off of that to figure out where we're gonna have that 20, we have this proper setback. And we do have, there is drainage along the side of that whole back area, there it comes off the street and comes down through there and then goes into there is another, like, it goes back towards the drain and the, so I don't know where it goes down from there, but anything we have coming off drains into there already. But we definitely, that's not, it wouldn't be pretty with the amount of water that comes down, even off the street. It would be a impervious nature of what's sitting in there actually. That's not for fun, but in general, you know, the water that's gonna come out of there, because that does get.
Did you see the sign? I did see the sign from it. Thank you. And I was gonna ask, maybe it was already discussed about handicap parking. I saw some of the sketches and I couldn't tell if there was.
There is spaces already, there's a ramp in front.
Okay.
There's at least one space.
You mentioned, plowing in the winter, they're gonna smooth out the stone, it doesn't just,
Yeah,
it
and
don't get pushed away.
yeah, in the spring, usually they come in and they just.
Gravel
bring it all
can
back.
underneath it, get start functioning.
Yeah,
Move stone back over.
yeah, every, usually in the spring, come back in, he does his own plowing, and then we do. See if they come in, drag it all back out, and then my children pick rocks. You know, not one. That's their job.
Personally, hope it never snows again.
They're all important.
If it does, I'll welcome the show.
Have to show me.
Anyone else have anything to add? Just a question on striping, is that planned to be? Not planning on striping the gravel, no. Okay,
In the front, yes, probably
In the-
have them come in.
side of the building as well?
The side and the front of the building gets striped, fading right now, but they're there, we'll put the handicap.
Great. Any new lighting plan, like, for the backyard, safety lighting?
There is
or-
some in the rear. Right now, there is 2 floodlights on the restaurant side, but there's the 3rd unit at the end is gonna get, one up in the eaves. We do use it also for parking during the winter, so yeah, that'll be good for, being able to see, we're gonna floodlight back, for safety and just because. Those will be on, those are on sensor lights right now, if there's any movement
In the back.
in the back, yeah, nothing in the front. What's there is there's already a street light over there, so it doesn't flow with on that side and even on the side because of the masons have had a street light put into, so that's right on the corner, so the front and the side of the one. Lighting.
Wait, do you have anything to add?
No, it all sounds very reasonable. I'm in favor of the pervious surfaces. It's good to put the groundwater back where it belongs. And it sounds good to have another restaurant in town.
Thank you. Jen, you mentioned the fair. Does anybody know when the fair is this year?
Always Labor Day.
Oh. Thanks. Any other comments? Questions? Would like to make a motion?
We accept the plan as submitted.
I gotta-
We have to have a separate motion we have to have a separate motion for the not having a special permit.
Yes, and yeah, I think, well, I think so, well, yeah, and then for the deck, we can't approve the deck until we get the zoning permit application for the deck.
So my first, I would not require, a special permit for the parking lot as long as it remains impervious.
Second. Motion by David Moore to, wait, not require,
Did you say to remain impervious?
I used the wrong word.
To
Remain
remain permeable?
permanent.
Is that what you were catching, Amy?
That's the impervious.
motion by David Moore to not require a special permit as long as the parking lot allows the water to flow through. And it's pervious,
Pervious, pervious.
seconded by John Day. Any discussion?
So pervious is the same as permeable? Is that what we're saying?
Basically, yeah. Basically, that's why I said.
So the people use the word pervious through it.
Impervious is the technical term.
Okay.
Similar to soaked up water.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That so passes. Now bring me the second motion to you.
That we move to approve the permit for the restaurant and pending. You know, the rest, all our, we need all our.
Second. Motion by
For the deck.
David Morse to accept the permit as presented, provided all the other things that go along with it get approved and we can come back to this. That correct, Cameron? Seconded by Timothy Young. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Absolutely passes. That was easy. Thank you for coming. Welcome to town.
Thank you.
Look forward to that grass fed deal.
Do you know when you expect to open?
We're hoping in about, some of it depends on the license application. and the health department. But hoping in about 4 weeks, 4 to 5 weeks.
Great. Are you still open up in Southbridge?
Yeah.
Are you gonna keep that? It's nothing to do. with
No,
that.
we aren't. We're going to bring it's gonna be our main.
Great.
Welcome. Moving right along, takes us to agenda item 9, land conservation and development update. maybe we're in negotiations with NECOG to. handle this.
My understanding is having already. My understanding you will be going with NECOG. I emailed you the same thing, but I wanted to talk about it tonight. John Cohen did a presentation with me and sent me notice at the last meeting. The recording of it and the slides are available online in the link that's in the email that you have, that I sent you by actual email, the link is here to use. But he gave an excellent presentation about trying to dismantle that old tired rumor that we used to hear a lot about how new houses lead to X number of new kids going into the school system. That's not how our households are anymore, because people are having so fewer children. So we need a lot of other housing stuff. It's not because of so many kids coming in. So he does an excellent job of explaining that, and I'm requesting that you do your homework to watch it so that we can discuss that at the community meeting.
It was a great presentation. I also thought about this. Thank you. It's actually only 0.3 children to the school system that a new family home brings. We're in a stagnation population wise. Variety of housing types. Accommodate.
Was that analysis for a geographic area? Nationwide or statewide?
He spoke a lot about Connecticut, but in general, about the pattern in the country.
Right.
You know, women are often waiting until they're older to have kids, then they have fewer kids.
Thanks.
And a lot of our population growth is more from immigration than natural growth.
Still population.
So beyond the issue of the new babies being born and added to your town population, it actually has a lot to do with economic development. And businesses need employees, and people in your town need a place to live. And as people are moving to Florida or wherever, sometimes they might not move to Florida, maybe they would move somewhere else in your town. And people shouldn't have to move out of town if they can't find a home that suits their new need. So there's a lot of different households than we had 20 or 30 years
There's a place where you can buy a phone for a 0.3 of a child. Here a week. If you wait staff.
Did I miss the karaoke part?
You did, Joe. The jokes too.
Well, thanks for doing the performance.
Just to enlighten everybody, Joe texted me, said he was on his way. I said, well, I'll stall the meeting, do some karaoke, tell us. That brings us to agenda item 10, citizens' comments.
Wait, before we get that
What?
far,
Okay.
when we're talking about the POCD, we haven't discussed how you want to do it. But I'd recommend that you invite other people into the process, the other boards and commissions, and the Economic Development Commission. And, you know, we could advertise to see if anyone wants to participate, because there'll be public meetings and they'll be welcome to come, but I think you'll have a better outcome the more people get involved. It's not like they all are gonna vote, but we want their input. And so I would recommend, like we did last time, a survey that we would advertise so that people can do the survey on their phone or do it online. And paper surveys are provided in libraries, and I had put them at Sweet Equities last time. If there's another place in town that we think people frequent, we can put paper surveys there, because some people don't want to do them online, don't like their phone or whatever. You put a link on your town website, you can put it on, if there's an appropriate Facebook page or Winnie Radio or whatever, we put it in the Villager and the Shepherd's Guide.
Or billboard.
If you want to pay for that, you can. But last time I didn't do the QR code thing, but we still had, I think, 270 people do the survey. When we did that affordable housing plan, we had like 300 and something. And the housing plans that we did at NECOG, the Woodstock survey had much higher turnout than any of the other housing plans. Even I've heard about other housing plans in other towns. Our survey results were much higher than. So I think you get a better result when you involve more people. So, after I get the final go ahead, I'll put together kind of what topics I think we should cover, and with not having that much time, you might have to do more of an abbreviated, but if you wanna think about what topics you wanna focus on the most, like if housing is most important, or agriculture, maybe you pick a couple topics, and we'll get through it, and then if you wanted to do more, you don't have to wait 10 years. You could do another phase where you focus on a different topic. So maybe you want to think about what you think is the most important topics, or I can send out a survey to you guys, and then you can fill that out.
Thank you, Jim. Are you looking to form a committee, or you're looking for just communication?
But
Yeah.
that's, we did it last time, the commission held the meetings, and they invited people, but it wasn't a committee. A lot of other towns, the commission doesn't do it by themselves, they have people from different boards and commissions form a new committee. I don't know if that's how you wanna do it, but the commission's gonna have the meeting. I highly recommend you invite a lot of people to the meetings, not just advertising, but physically reach out to the other boards and commissions, and our renewal advertising as we always have. But we'd like to see a lot of people in the room for all our meetings. I know, but sometimes you have to physically reach out to people. And we can do them hybrid, so maybe people,
Some of the other commissions that I administer, wetlands, CDA, kind of sitting with conservation, ag. Sometimes somebody on each of those commissions is very interested in this. So I can steer some people your way. And if you wanted to form a committee, I think you could really form one. It's just probably a logistical challenge. I think there's a lot of interest in this.
Well, I think that's what we'd be looking for, I guess, input from as many residents as possible. And like Dave said, that in the past, invitations went out to the commission chairs, committee chairs, to make sure that town organizations knew about the upcoming. And we held a lot of them during the regular meeting, right? Or
we had separate meetings.
we had separate meetings, yeah.
You don't want to touch it when there's different allocations that gets late.
Yeah. Actually, the first meeting of the month, I think we used for that.
Something that happened last time, I decided to avoid this time, is there was a group of people who submitted luminous comments right at the end. I'm hoping that if we invite them throughout the process, which I tried to do that, and again, so they bring their input to us earlier on, we can incorporate it earlier.
So next step is to decide who to invite and how we're gonna decide that. I mean,
Well, I
there's
can
some
come up with a
obvious.
list, and you can just add, tell me if you wanted to have it, let anybody else, but we should really focus on what the main topic.
You're gonna.
Focus on.
you-
Yeah.
And the POCD, the current POCD is online.
Yeah.
So that'd be a good reminder, refresher of what they look like.
And as part of the process, we'll be doing updating maps.
Anyone else? That brings us to citizens' comments. Yes.
On behalf of the Economic Development Commission, we've actually been discussing a lot of planning and zoning stuff, and how we can work with you, and Jessica's coming before. But we are planning to do like, a hands-on creative POCD starter activity at our next meeting, which is Tuesday, July 2nd. At 6:30, if anyone wants to come, we're kind of kicking our regular business aside, we're inviting some people, but all of you are welcome to come and attend. There'll be some, group kind of fun, active ways to start thinking about the POCD that we've been working on.
Was it dating? 6:30?
It's Tuesday, July 2nd. It's always the first Tuesday of the month at 6:30. We meet in room A.
Thank you, Amy.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Agenda item 11 is correspondence, and I did not see any in the packet, but maybe somebody else has something to add. That was nice that you sent the stuff that you sent to Dan, sent us.
Okay,
It was good.
interesting, legal battles going on with different zoning commissions throughout the state, free use and or misuse. Elected officials.
I haven't seen any
Updates
updates.
on that recently.
It got quiet, huh?
So that brings us to agenda item 12.
Move to adjourn.
Second. Move to adjourn. Right, Tim Young, seconded by Dean Wu. Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
That's really backwards. Yeah, wrap it up. Thank you, everyone. Sure would.